Alright, what's up my family? This is Michael here with Find Your Light, and this is one of my first of many videos that I'm going to call Healing Diaries. And what these videos are meant to do is to promote motivation, encouragement to everyone out there that is in a state of suffering, that has an illness they're dealing with, that they sometimes feel like the world has closed in on them and they don't have a way out. Remember, the answers lie within ourselves, and so I'm going to be having people to give testimonies of climbing out of these spaces that we can fall into. And sometimes a simple breadcrumb from a testimony can transform your life. Testimonies is literally how I climbed out of my dark hole, watching hundreds and hundreds of testimonies and trying different things and researching different things, all off of what worked for other people. So this is why I offer this. Even if you're perfectly well, even if you don't have any situations in your life that really need tending to, watch these, share them to people that may need them. We all know people in our life that need some assistance. Remember, the healing that we go through in our life, this healing is our medicine to the world, and we can help so many people through our testimony and through our choices that we make. So, this video is going to be my good friend Jeff, who battled Lyme and overall blood toxicity issues, and he's had a great journey to where he is today, and he keeps on going. And one of the biggest, most profound things that helped Jeff is that he listened to his body. He saw many different people. He did not just take everybody's advice and just do it without thinking. He listened, he meditated, he listened to his body, and he put together his own program, his own regimen that brought him to health. Please enjoy. Thank you. What's up, my family? This is Michael. I'm here with Find Your Light. I'm here with my good friend Jeff Thatch, and we are here to give you some motivation from his testimony. And I'm going to ask him some questions. This is totally raw, just flying off the hook. We didn't talk about what we're going to say, because I don't really like that, how to go with all that. I just like whatever happens is meant to happen. So Jeff has been battling Lyme and some other toxicity issues of the blood. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey everyone, I'm Jeff Catch. Great to be able to share my story and my journey with you, especially alongside of a great friend Michael here, who's been a tremendous help along the way.
So Jeff started seeing me, started using my flotation tank, and inquired about some of the body work that I do. And he was one of my first people to kind of walk through my door. So I've known him for some time now. We have some similarities in battling like toxicity fatigue and things like that. He specifically came across kind of the battle of Lyme. I was kind of battling some other stuff. So how long ago did this start for you?
Yeah, the initial symptoms came on around September or October 2016, so almost 2.5 years ago at this point.
2.5 years ago, and when I first met Jeff, how long were you able to ride your bike for? Not very long.
Oh, when I first met you, I was almost pretty much bedridden. I had been on medical leave. I went from being able to, in terms of like my endurance capacity, I was an athlete at the time before getting sick. It was nothing for me to ride my bike, 50 or 100 miles at a clip, and had other forms of physical endurance and other athletic disciplines. But when the illness came on, I went from 100 miles an hour to 0 miles an hour. I was completely debilitated.
And my family out there in the world, when men such as like us, when we have a physicality that we kind of hold ourselves upon, and then that's taken from us, it forces us to find who we truly are. Mm-hmm. Because everything that we used to base ourselves off of is now no longer in our life. So it's another thing that Jeff and I shared that we went through, is when the physicality is taken out from underneath you, you got to go inside and figure out who you truly are.
For sure.
So
yeah, that was, and I could not agree more with that. And in fact, I want to remind you of the very first time I called you. I had found one of the brochures for your float tank at the organic grocery store up the road, and I phoned you. And the first conversation I had with you, we talked for about a half hour, and you put me such at ease, because I finally felt like I met someone who understood and could relate to what I was going through. And you told me then that, that I would reclaim my vitality and my wholeness, and that it would be work and that it would take time.
Yep.
And here I am today.
Sickness and illness is our Creator's way of tweaking our reality so we find our way back to ourselves. Because it's actually a gift in a sense, because we could go down our whole lives off a very off-angle path, and we spend our whole lives and we don't really accomplish our purpose here. But sickness and illness and complications, they can cause us to course correct and find our way back. So the main things you were dealing with was Lyme and mold toxicity, right?
No, you got to go all the way back. So for the first 6 months, I didn't know what I was dealing with. I was having all these symptoms, anything from night sweats and fevers, chills, body aches, major gastrointestinal distress, and on and on and on. And I went to a medical doctor, a traditional doctor, and he kept trying to diagnose, and he was doing test after test after test and could not find anything. And the last thing he did for me about 3 or 4 months into this back and forth to the doctor's office was signed my papers to go on medical leave and gave me an antidepressant and said there was nothing more he can do for me. So at that point, it was now the 3rd or 4th month in, and someone had told me that I should consider seeing another doctor, who I later found out was what's called a functional medicine doctor. And it wasn't until I got to him that he began doing the proper testing, and now at about month 5 or 6, he found that I was testing positive for Lyme. But that same doctor also felt that he had to take care of me from some of the damage the former doctor did, which was he put me on an antibiotic that we believe caused extreme toxicity inside of my body. So now all of a sudden I had a compromised immune system from Lyme, but I was also further compromising it by trying to by basically eradicating all the healthy bacteria with an antibiotic. So at that point we were dealing with Lyme toxicity, and then later on, a couple months into it, we found that I had heavy metals. And then further down the road was the mold. So it was a number of things that was holding me back. So for those of you that are watching this video, I can just really feel that Jeff's testimony, whether 50% of it or all of it, so many people can relate to. We are all, in 2019, in Western civilization, we are all heavy metals toxic. It's in our foods, it's in the air that we breathe, it's in... Take off the tinfoil hat, it's from the spraying of the skies, it's from the EMF damage that we get, it is from everything. On top of it, his immune system got compromised because of the toxic treatments that were put into his body. So he went through a long path of self-discovery and detoxification, and a shout out to the functional medicine doctors in 2019, because what is starting to happen is we used to have the healers and the shamans, and we used to have the homeopathic centers, and then we had the Western medical institutions, and these were on opposite ends of the world. Functional medicine doctors are like meeting you in the middle, and the good ones will use both to bring you back to balance. And most of them understand that this side of the fence is only used as a last resort, and we always resort to our creation first and what it can be offered, and technology can also be used to bring us back into balance for a given time, but we always want to set ourselves free with our lifestyle. Right on.
So what changes in your lifestyle did you make to...
Yeah, well, let me just say that it's been, I think the best way to describe it for your audience is that I've kind of considered this journey as one big onion and constantly peeling back those layers to get to wholeness, right?
Yeah.
So going all the way back to the very beginning, it was, of course, trying to trial and error with diet, getting back to a whole foods, primarily plant-based diet, although for me, because I had such GI distress, I found that the healthy fats were quite healing to my gut, and so I was doing a lot of experimentation on determining what my body liked. It was a lot of soups, a lot of cooked foods to try to eliminate some of the pressure that my digestion, trying to take that off the burden off my digestion by blending everything, eating warm foods, because at the time it was the middle of the winter when I got sick, so I was trying to build my immunity that way. The other things that I found amazingly helpful was meditation. I mean, daily practice. I was dealing with such anxiety and depression because of my whole life was turned upside down. I was a mess. I mean, I was having panic attacks, and I was so scared about not knowing what was wrong with me. But what got me through it, and I was having insomnia too, extreme insomnia, was just going as deep as I could into meditation. Sometimes it would be 5 minutes, sometimes it would be 30 minutes. Sometimes the only way I could fall asleep at night was with headphones and some kind of binaural beats or something playing into my brain, literally just relaxing me. I found acupuncture to be incredibly helpful at the time. Yoga and movement. I mean, my body was so wrecked that 5 minutes of yoga in front of the screen was about all I can do, and then I would build up from there to 30 minutes to 45 minutes, and walking and deep breathing and sitting in the sun at any chance I could. Then I found my way to you, and I found that going into a float tank and just taking all that sensory away from me and just being completely present to my breathing was incredibly helpful. And then we got onto the table and we were doing Polarity work. There was no one thing that I can really...
It's the change of the lifestyle.
Yeah. And dude, at the end of the day, it was going deep into myself. I mean, come on. I mean, I had to really... I had some moments where I had to really get real with what was going on inside of me. And my life up until that point was on a pace that wasn't a viable pace for any human being. I was very committed to my career at the time. Not that I'm not still committed to my career, but I've now learned how to work in a way that is good for me.
And you work for an organic farm.
Oh, by the way, getting ill completely changed my career. I was on one path where I was doing work that at the end of the day, when I really got honest with myself, wasn't feeding me and my soul.
Yeah, you were saying that it was all about the finances at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. And this illness set me on a completely new path where I now am one of the leaders of an organization that is literally changing the world through organic agriculture. And I don't know that I would ever have had the courage to step out of my former work to do what I'm doing today if it wasn't having everything taken from me through this illness.
Yep. So through healing, it's not always from the physical body. It is our outside reality matches the internal reality. So a lifestyle change is not just focusing on one avenue. It is literally removing the world, figuring out who we are, and then relearning how we enter back into the world. Because the key is do not be a part of the world, we just live in it. We observe it, and we learn the lessons that we're here to learn. So Jeff went from one side of the fence of the duality, he went inside of himself and his pendulum swung to the other side of the duality, and then in the center we find out who we are. But the duality offers us the chance to learn all these things. So through heavy detoxification protocols, and you heard his diet, the mindful training, the body work, the metaphysical healing, it's not just one thing. But the encouragement goes out to each and every single one of you.
Yes.
No matter what your sickness is, no matter what your illness is, there is a path to recovery and well-being. And one thing that you've used was saunas, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. Infrared sauna early on. I mean, I don't know where I would be without that modality. Not only infrared saunas, but also hot baths, like with lots of Epsom salt. That was another. Any kind of getting the body hot and removing those toxins through sweat was huge.
The lymphatic system, my friends, must be moved. And also, Jeff does rebounding. So you got the rebounding, he's got the cycling, the yoga, and the saunas, the Epsom salt baths. Our lymphatic system is our sewer system to empty out our blood. So we got to keep that clean, we got to keep it moving. And 2019 Western society, we live a stagnant life. We must free our lymphatic system of these toxins, and the methods that Jeff is talking about are some of the best one that the masters of detoxification out there recommend. IR saunas, rebounding, and the diet are three. They're it. Everything else will find its way into your life. But you have to keep an open mind, step out of your comfort zone, and realize that the answers are going to find the answers are found in the areas where you don't want to look. So, anything else that you want to say to our viewers over here?
Yeah, I think I would like to end by saying that one of the greatest, I think, needs that I had, not needs, but maybe the better way to say it is maybe one of the greatest desires that I had.
Desire is a much more powerful word than need.
Yeah, was the ability to have community around me, other people who have been through what I was going through. There was so many days early on when I felt so lonely and isolated and without answers. And one by one, people began to come into my life like you. And I all of a sudden, over time, have coalesced such a community of people. And I would say to any one of you that is going through something similar, not to sit in isolation, to reach out, find communities and connect with healers, connect with people that can help you on the journey. Because once you open your life up to answers, to people, to helpers on the journey, they will come. And if you ask for them, they will come. I was feeling helpless when the medical system had no more answers for me. The only thing they had for me was a pill and some paperwork. Beyond that, I was in complete isolation. So I think I would challenge each and every one of you to ask for help and expect it. And the universe will put the right people in your life to help you along the way. So I'm grateful for our friendship and for you being there for me. Friend. Yeah, you've been present for me and you've helped me quite a bit.
The healing we do in our lives or ourselves is the medicine for the world. If you climb a mountain and that person steps up to the ledge above you, he offers a hand for you to get up to the ledge. It is the same thing. It is why we are here in this existence, is to learn our lessons, turn around and help others learn their lessons, turn around and help others learn their lessons. It makes life so much more satisfying, gratifying, happy, grace, peace, happiness. All these vibrations are within your reach. We just have to step away from the system and see what's really there. So, Jeff and my people, once again, findyourlight11.com is my website. I offer health consultations, and my door is always open for anyone, but I also do things over the phone. I do health readings over the phone. I do things like that. And if for some reason you need to get a hold of Jeff, I can put you in that context too. But all of us are here to help each other, and our medicine of healing is the medicine for the world. So take care of yourself is taking care of the world.
Peace.
Namaste, everybody.